Concurrent schedules of reinforcement with a fish and discounting with adults and tobacco. The first purpose of the study was to evaluate the effects of two concurrent schedules of reinforcement, which was the smaller, sooner reinforcement or a larger, later reinforcement. The second purpose of the study was to evaluate personal preference of two individuals between two types of reinforcement, again, a smaller, sooner and a larger, later. And then the third purpose was to use the same 20 individuals in between the two types of reinforcement of guaranteed smaller and chance of winning a larger reinforcement. Of the 20 participants, 10 were people who consumed tobacco and then 10 who didn't consume tobacco. The fish participant was one small Shubunkin goldfish, which is measuring about 6 centimeters by 3 centimeters by 3.5 centimeters with the fins. The age and gender was unknown just because PetSmart does not carry this information. This fish was also kept in an individualized tank throughout the whole experiment, and it was only interacted with one experimenter, which was me. The fish was kept in a full-size bathroom which contained a double vanity, so the fish tank sat between the two bowls of the sink, and observation data was recorded over 8 consecutive days for a total of 47 sessions, and the sessions were broken up into 3 trial block sessions occurring in the morning between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., and then again 3 more trial blocks between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., and in between each trial block session there was a 10-minute break. And this is when all the equipment was removed. This is a picture of what the apparatus looked like, and it contains the 2 hoop equipment and the plant and thermometer filter, and the only thing that's taken off is the hood that contains the lights. For the fish, one target response was the fish swimming independently from the left side of the tank through the hoop on the fish's left, and then the second target was the fish swimming independently from the left side of the tank through the hoop on the fish's right. 2 observers independently recorded IOA and procedural reliability for 36% of the sessions, and the IOA calculation was the number of scored agreements divided by agreements plus disagreements, and then that whole value was times by 100, and it yielded an IOA of 100% and a procedural integrity of 100% for this study. This is the checklist of the procedural reliability that was completed during the sessions. A concurrent schedule design was used for this study with the fish to evaluate the choice-making behavior of the fish. And the 2 reinforcement schedules were the smaller, sooner reinforcer and a larger, later reinforcer. The fish was trained to complete both the target responses by shaping techniques that were used 2 weeks ago, and there was a 1 week when all the fish equipment was not being used before the baseline phase of this study. The baseline phase included no reinforcement being used with the fish, even if it went through either hoop, and the baseline was terminated once the data was stable for 5 consecutive sessions. The intervention phase 1 and 2 consisted of the 2 reinforcement schedules of the smaller, sooner reinforcement, and that was assigned to the left hoop, and a larger, later reinforcement schedule was assigned to the right hoop. The results for baseline included the left hoop having a mean frequency of 0.6, ranging from 0 to 1, and a right hoop mean frequency of 0.04, ranging from 0 to 1. And the intervention 1 and 2 phase included the left hoop having a mean frequency of 7.29 and ranging from 3 to 12, and the right hoop mean frequency of 3.21 with a range of 0 to 6. And the point when the fish started choosing the left hoop more than the right was at session 19, and then there was even a more significant choice difference after session 30. This graph is the frequency of the fish swimming through the hoops. The black filled data points is the left hoop, which was the smaller, sooner reinforcer, and then the black circle dots were the right hoop, which was the larger, later reinforcement. The participants for the control and at-risk groups consisted of 20 male individuals who served in the United States Marine Corps, and at the at-risk group were 10 Marines who currently consumed tobacco products firsthand daily, and the control group consisted of 10 Marines who currently do not consume tobacco products firsthand daily, and the demographics for the 20 Marines ranged from 19 to 31 years of age, the racial diversity of 13 of being white and 7 being Hispanic or Latino origin. And then to break it down further, the at-risk group consisted of the 19 to 25 years of age, and then 7 white and 3 Hispanic or Latino origin. And then the control group consisted of 19 to 31 years of age, and 6 were white and 4 were Hispanic or Latino. 25-item momentary choice questionnaire that measured the delayed discounting was entered into a Google form for the participants to take, and this also occurred with a 25-item probability discounting questionnaire. And the participants were able to complete the Google form at one's convenience and a setting of one's choice. It was recommended to complete the questionnaire at one time and in a quiet location. Responses from the questionnaires were entered into an Office Excel to estimate an area under the curve, which is the AUC value, and the delayed discounting pertaining to the control and at-risk groups, and then also again with the probability discounting pertaining to the control and at-risk groups. The momentary choice questionnaire contained 5 questions for each delay level, and the levels were 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, and 75 days. And the now would be considered the 0 days, since there isn't a delay between the now, again, the reinforcement now. So the questions for each delay level with the same delayed amount of 100 included for the now, and then the amount of either $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25. So an example of a question would be, would you prefer $5 now or 175 days? And then all observed subjective values for each participant were averaged, and then averaged across the 10 participants for each group for each delay level. The probability discounting questionnaire on Google Form consisted of 5 questions for each of the probability levels of 10%, 30%, 50%, 70%, and 90%, and the questions for each probability level with the same probable amount of 100 included for the now of 0% chance of either the amount of $5, $10, $15, $20, and $25. And an example would be, would you prefer $5 guaranteed or 90% chance of winning $100? And then all these observed subjective values for each participant was averaged across all 10 participants for each group for the probability level. The results from the momentary choice questionnaire for the control group who did not consume tobacco products equaled an AUC value of 0.7650, and the mean observed subjective value for each delay was $100, $99, $94, and $78, $50, and $23, respectively, to the 0 days, 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, and the 40 days on the slide. The indifferent point equaled 45 days, and then the results for the probability discounting questionnaire equaled, for the same control group, equaled an AUC of 0.5929, and then the mean observed subjective values for each probability was $5, 15, 25, or 27, 50, 85, 90, and then $90.90 and $100 respectively to those probability levels. And the indifferent point with probability of 50% chance of getting $100. These are the graphs for the control group. The delay in days is on the left, and the probability of percentages are on the right. For the at-risk group, the results from the momentary choice questionnaire equaled AUC value of 0.5597, and then the mean observed subjective value for each delay was $192.30, 97 or $73.50, $37.28, $18.40, and $16.90 respectively to those listed delays. And the indifference point was 30 days, and the results from the probability discounting questionnaire resulted in an AUC value of 0.6471, and the mean observed subjective value for each probability level was $5, $18.70, $41.70, $87.20, and $97, and then $100 respectively to the probability delays listed. And the indifference point was a probability of 30% of getting $100. And these graphs include the visual representation of the at-risk group and their delays and probabilities at subjective values of reinforcement. To summarize, the 4 AUC values were relatively similar in regards to choice-making behavior. However, the control group who did not consume the tobacco products had an AUC value of 0.7650 for the delay discounting. One potential limitation was the history threat to internal validity. Generally, the Marines that were used in this study were exposed to similar environmental variables. However, a historical event may have occurred during a recent military drill or current time when completing the questionnaires. It is possible that the event altered the participants' financial choices and overall just choice-making behavior. Future area of research could be having the participants complete the Google form at the same time and in the same room. Notation was the questionnaires were personally created for this study and were not tested for validity, and the future research could be for experimenters to use the questionnaires that were used in this study multiple times with different populations to establish if the questions show consistent validity. The third limitation was the subjective values of reinforcement ranging from 5 to 25 and not varying significantly. So this is like a very small window of price that was used, and future research could use larger subjective amounts to evaluate if the person would engage in different choice-making behaviors. You know, if there was a larger momentary amounts offered for the now value for questions versus, you know, the small numbers of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. This video consists of the fish going through the left hoop, and he is not reinforced for doing so because it is in the baseline phase. During this video, the fish goes through the hoop on the right and receives a larger reward of food that is delayed by 10 seconds. And this reinforcement is occurring in the intervention phase. This video shows the fish entering the left hoop and swimming through it and receiving a smaller, sooner reinforcer in the intervention phase.